Alright, this is John Colo with OKRaw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. Today I have a special guest actually on my show. Actually, I haven't had her on my show for many years now. It's actually been too long of a time. We have my friend Katharine Clark. She's a health educator, like I consider a health expert, health guru, registered nurse. She does lots of kind of stuff. And actually check below for the video we made last time. It's about getting your fenugreek on to, get it on actually. So that was a good video. But in this video, it's actually a little more serious a topic. It's actually how can you fly safe, right? I mean, people don't understand, like, when you fly, it can be really detrimental to your health. And I mean, I fly probably a little bit too much, but there's techniques that I've come up with over the many years to, deal with flying and be healthy when I get off that flight. But Katharine, you're actually writing a book on this topic, right?
Yes, I am.
So when's your book coming out and what's the title?
I'm working to get the book out right away. It's called Fly Safe, How to Minimize the Health Risks of Air Travel.
And so why did you decide to write this book?
Well, I was talking to my friends about what I do when I fly, and they said, you really need to write a book. So I wrote down all my tips, and my friends took a look at it. John, they said, people need to know why they need to do these. And that's when I started to research all the detrimental effects on your health of flying in an airplane.
Yeah, no, I know many, and I try to do my whacked out things that are in my head, and probably she does maybe some of the same if we've come up with the same conclusions from the information we've learned. But I'm really excited to hopefully learn something that I could actually modify and change, and maybe you'll learn some tips from me along my journey. So I guess in this episode, we're just going to go ahead and share with you guys like some of the top 5 tips with you guys. I mean, she's going to have a whole book, hundreds of pages that you should probably look into. As soon as her book comes out, I will have links down below. Right now, it's not quite published yet, right? So this is an advanced preview of some of the tips that could help you guys out stay healthy. So I guess, Katharine, without further ado, what's probably the most important tip? This is something I do, and I know you do also.
Yeah, because we were talking before about this. The number one tip is to keep your own immune system strong and healthy and preserve your health. The number one tip is stay hydrated. You definitely want to power up on your water before you fly. John and I were both saying that we're guzzling down a 16-ounce bottle just before we hit...
32 for me.
32 before we hit the TSA check. And so after you get through the security, opting out, of course, unless you're about to miss your flight so you don't go through the radioactive scanner, you head straight to the bathroom. And then you fill up and you begin drinking more water. I personally travel with what you call a life straw. This is a small tube that's like a straw, but it purifies your water. It's for wilderness camping or flying on airplanes so that you can use the tap water, the fountain water, and you can also drink the water that's in the bottles on the airplane. Now, John, in my research, I discovered that all the water on airplanes tested has E. coli. That's from feces, and it does make you sick if you drink it. So you want to only use the bottled water on the airplane, make sure the seal pops when you open it, but you're still drinking out of plastic. So Fiji water, Smart water, those are good choices, but some terminals now have water filters where you can refill your own bottle right there. And in California, in San Francisco, they even have Sierra Nevada spring water on tap.
But I wonder if it's really spring water, they're adding things to it, like the chlorine. I'm not entirely sure.
Sometimes they do. In some municipalities, they still mandate that you have to put the chlorine in it. So I always use my life straw if I don't know where the water is coming from. Now, getting up to go to the bathroom on the airplane can be a bit annoying, but you do need to be going to the bathroom a minimum of once every 2 hours to know that you're hydrated. The air in the airplane is very drying, so if you have a tendency to be dry, you want to make sure you're keeping your lips moisturized, and you may even want to use some water-soluble moisturizer inside your nose.
Excellent tips. I want to share some of my tips actually. So before I go through TSA, I don't just drink water. Generally, I try to make some kind of juice. So juice is water with extra added nutrients in there. So Especially lately, I've been trying to make high antioxidant rich juices to drink right before my flight. You know, whether that's something like a cactus fruit juice that's like really nice, deep, rich red purple, or whether I'm juicing some purple carrots and some red beets. That's what I like to, you know, drink right before my flight. Or if I don't have time to make the juice, then I'll drink like a water. And sometimes even the day when I'm flying, actually I just juice fast the entire day. So it's just like how my body has more energy to, like, you know, have my immune system stronger instead of having to work on digesting food. Another tip I want to share with you guys is actually, you know, when you do get the plane and you try to get your seats, if you don't have to pay extra, you know, always try to get the aisle seat. That way you could go to the bathroom without disturbing people. And for some reason, like, I'm pretty cheap, I don't usually pay for seats and then sometimes they put me wherever, like in the middle, which I really hate, or the window, even worse. You got to make two people get up so that you go to the bathroom. Let them know before the flight starts, hey, I have a small bladder, I just drank lots of liquids, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom a lot. So, you know, if you want to get up, that's fine, but would you like to, you know, trade seats so you could be here and I could be there and I don't have to disturb you from sleeping if you're going to be sleeping this flight. So that could also get you the aisle seat, which is pretty nice. Also, you get to get off the plane a little bit faster. Oh, and then, yeah, with the fruits, you know, I've taken full watermelons on flights, I've taken full cantaloupes on flights, and I've even taken whole coconuts unopened on the flights. You know, coconuts in the coconut itself to the TSA is not a water-containing vessel, it's a coconut, and you can take that. You know, I've never gotten a coconut taken away from me. Actually, if I remember, I'll put a link down below to a really cool video I made actually in the airport opening a coconut with no tools. That being said, I do like to take like the white coconuts that you actually just could pop a chopstick through, which you could also take on the plane, and then a straw so that you could drink out, you know, all the water.
Well, with coconuts, John, those are mineral rich and they're actually more hydrating than regular water. So even coconut water in a container, adding a pinch of salt to your water, or I am going to talk a little bit about adding something that oxygenates or structures the water, like Crystal Energy Tincture or the Mag 07, Cell, I'm drawing a blank on exactly what that is. It oxygenates the water like Aerobic 7. Those things will actually help you hold the water and be more hydrated.
And then even taking it one step further, a device that Katharine probably doesn't know about yet that I have, and I'm going to start to offer them on my website, discountjuicers.com. It's actually a hydrogen generator. So you just take this little device, you put in a bottle of water, and it actually creates high hydrogen in there. And actually, when you put hydrogen in the water, that's actually one of the most powerful antioxidants. So now you're drinking antioxidant-rich water to help your body combat some of the stresses of flying.
No, I love learning new things from you, John.
Yeah, it's really researched in Japan. All right, so Katharine, let's move on to tip number 2 on staying healthy while traveling through the air.
Well, you actually mentioned getting an aisle seat.
Oh.
So, John, getting an aisle seat actually is less radiation exposure than sitting near the outside of the airplane. You're exposed to 3 kinds of radiation when you're flying, and actually a trip from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States is an average of 20 chest x-rays consecutively.
Wow.
So that's pretty significant. Staying hydrated, once again, is going to keep your immune system strong, but you may want to use some sort of heavy metal remover. I like to use a zeolite preparation called NCD, and I put that in the water as I'm drinking it. Also, you want to eat things like blue-green algae, spirulina, chlorella, cilantro. These things help pull the heavy metals, and that's what the radiation sticks to when it's in your body. Now, the radiation is sticking to your body, and it's also on your clothes. So when you get off the airplane, you want to go straight to your hotel, take those clothes off, make sure they get laundered with soap, and take a shower with soap yourself, because you can actually wash some of that radiation off of you. Don't stay in the same clothes. Get rid of those. I actually talked to one person who buys plastic disposable raincoat, puts it on before he gets on the airplane, and then takes it off as soon as he gets off the airplane and throws it away.
Wow, I've been paranoid about like the clothes I wear in the airplane, not because of the radiation on the clothes, but probably because of all the germs
We can talk about that next.
on the clothes after I fly in the airplane. I feel a little weird. I'm like, I'm not sleeping in these clothes. I got to take a shower and then have a whole
There's more
change.
radiation at the front of the plane also, so sit in the midway or sit a little bit further back, probably the middle of the plane, right in the aisle.
So let's talk about like the problem with the radiation? Like, why is it a big problem? Why should somebody be maybe concerned about it? I mean, some people could say, you're crazy, you know, radiation, I can't feel that. It doesn't do anything to me. I don't feel any different when I get off the
Oh
plane.
my gosh. Well, you know, a pregnant woman who flies 3 times in her first month and during the first trimester will abort the fetus.
No way.
Yeah, and it's pretty significant in terms of what it will do to damage your DNA. So we're talking about not being able to replicate your cells properly, having mutations in your cells, and mutations in your cells most commonly is known as cancer, but it can lead to all kinds of diseases.
Wow. So yeah, heed this information and do as many of these as you can. I mean, that's why I like to also eat anti-cancer foods just in my general diet on a daily basis. Otherwise, I'm not eating like Coca-Cola and eating McDonald's. Those foods can also, you know, in my opinion, and based on the research I've seen, promote and cause cancer. I try to eat antioxidant-rich fruits and vegetables, especially the leafy greens, cruciferous, and allium family of plants, just all the time, so that when I do have to go in air travel, my body's in a much better starting place.
Well, another thing you might want to do is to take iodine supplementation, Illumidine, Thywell. Premier Research has a good liquid iodine that you can take because your thyroid relies on the uptake of the hormone for your iodine for your thyroid. So it's good to give yourself iodine that is not radioactive as opposed to when you're on the airplane. So that's another tip that I use to be radio protective.
Wow.
And foods are certainly very significant in their radio protective qualities, particularly the mineral-rich foods you mentioned.
So if you didn't want to take like some iodine supplement because it's kind of processed and I don't want anybody to get too much iodine because we have to have a proper amount, would it be all right to have some iodine-rich foods such as seaweeds? So like kelp powder or some other kind of powders, like to bone up on that stuff before you fly?
I recommend Maine coast sea vegetables and Icelandic sea vegetables.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, Catherine, we're learning so much so far, but hey, what's tip number 3? And I know we got a few more still.
Well, tip number 3 is going to have to do with all the bacteria that are found on the
germs.
airplane.
Yuck!
Yeah.
I hate germs. I'm
Yeah.
germophobic.
Well, once again, I didn't know that about you.
You didn't?
No, once again, it is keep your immune system strong because a strong immune system is your best defense. Staying hydrated is critical to that. Keeping your nose and your airways hydrated, so you might need to suck on a mint or, you know, have some gum if you like that. I don't really use any of those things, but what I found in my research is pretty alarming. I mentioned that all the water on the plane has E. coli, which is from feces, but MRSA is actually found in the seat back pockets, and the magazine is the filthiest thing on the plane. They say the magazine is even filthier than the sink in the lavatory, and the lavatory, of course, is an issue all to itself. So what I recommend are using essential oils that are antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. Thieves is a wonderful and ancient blend. Many companies carry that. Young Living has it. They even have it in wipes, which are pre-moistened towelettes, and they have it in a spray. So you can spray that around your area. You can spray it on your seat back, and don't even use the tray table. Don't think about the tray table. Do not use your seat back pocket. MRSA can live outside the body for 5 days.
Wow.
The next place is where people grab those aisle seats as they're walking to and from the airplane with their dirty hands. So if you are going to use the wipe or the spray, definitely clean that area off and watch that your hair, like never use the blanket. If it doesn't come out of plastic, it hasn't been cleaned. If they still give you pillows, what I always do is just take my own little blanket with me because I'm cold-natured, and I wear a hoodie. And that way I cover up my hair, I lean back in my seat, and when I get off the plane, I get rid of that hoodie, get it in the laundry. Also, you can use silver before you get on the plane and on the plane to sniff up your nose, especially if you feel like your immune system is down.
This is colloidal silver.
Yes, colloidal silver or Argentine silver, which is my current current favorite, Argentine silver, is so pure you can actually do it IV. And Osha is a wonderful root that's also called Apache root. That's an herb that you can get which will strengthen your immune system while you're on the plane. So let's say you're starting out dehydrated, you may be a little sleep deprived, so you want to beef up with your immune system. Use the superfoods that I mentioned before, the blue-green algae, the chlorella, staying hydrated, and then you can also use the spray essential oils to purify the air around you and your seat and so forth, and then use the Osha root and perhaps the silver. Now when you get ready to go into the lavatory, you want to open the door, and if you can use a tissue, that would be good to open the door, reach in, take a towelette, and do not touch anything without your towel.
That's what I do.
So if you have to lift the seat, if you have to turn on the water,
or use your foot.
You're using a paper towel. Of course, you're not going to sit on anything while you're in there.
Squat on the toilet.
You're not going to let your clothes touch anything while you're in there. And when you're done in there, you're going to get clean towels, paper towels from the towel dispenser. You want to open the door, get outside, reach in, push the flush button, and shut the door before that all vaporizes into the cabin.
And then throw the towel away.
Yeah.
And then shut the door with your foot as you exit.
Shut the door before the flush happens.
Oh, I see.
So you push the button and there's a pause, so you can shut the door, run, and get those towelettes away. You can also get the pre-moistened towels to wash your hands, or there are
the essential oil.
There are probiotic sanitizers now that don't have any alcohol or chemicals in them. They actually have probiotics. It's like essential microorganisms that you can use on the airplane, and those are also very effective. I'm spraying now to spray around your seat and the seat backs, in front and back of you and all. And this is getting so much more significant with, germs coming from all around the world that we may not be used to. So you also want to load up on your probiotics, because those are your natural defense against the bad bacteria, your good bacteria. Eating probiotic food is better for you than taking probiotics in capsules. So that would be, sauerkraut, kimchi has a lot of research showing how much it strengthens your immune system and puts the good bacteria back in. Taking probiotic capsules is good, because on a flight from the East Coast to the West Coast, say a 5-hour flight, John, you're destroying a very significant number of your own friendly bacteria.
How do they get destroyed?
It's from the radiation.
Oh, the radiation destroys the probiotics that are inside you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know
Yes. So, also using digestive enzymes after the flight, so that when you do eat, you're supporting your digestion and you're taking lots of probiotics after that flight.
And of course, I would also recommend eating prebiotic-rich foods, right? So the fruits and the vegetables are prebiotic-rich foods, and there's even certain prebiotic foods that are even higher in prebiotics. So jicama, a great food, Jerusalem artichokes, and they're great food. Even garlic and onions, to a lesser degree, have the probiotics in there. Let's see. Other tips I had. You had so many things to say. I like to use this product called X Clear. So like it's a nasal spray. So like coat your nose with this X Clear, which is actually xylitol. Yeah, and that could help so much if you start getting the sniffles, because you're like, oh man, I breathed something, now I got the sniffles, my nose is running. Hit it with X Clear. It's worked for me so many times. My mom actually does not live without that stuff. Let's see.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Oh, and then the other thing that's really important is you could use probiotic soap. So I use a probiotic soap by Dr. Ohhira's. And, I just bathe in probiotic soap all the time. So I have actually good bacteria all over my body, even before I get on the flight, and even just like right now, I have probiotics. So this could help me defend myself against the bad bacteria that are out there. And then the other thing I want to say is, if you do need to get a probiotic supplement to take with you on the airplane, there's so many different brands out there, and I know it can be quite confusing. Most of them are actually a white little powder that are, laboratory manufactured, which, hey, those are good because it's
laboratory grown.
Laboratory grown, thank you. Better than nothing, but what I recommend for you guys instead is the actually Dr. Ohhira's Probiotic 10 Plus. And what that is, that's actually not laboratory grown. It's from Japan, and in Japan they go up to the mountains, harvest all these roots and fruits and vegetables, and they basically put them in wooden like buckets, and they basically ferment these foods with the culture. They play music to the culture, and then they take the mixture out, which is it looks like a bean paste, and they put it in the capsules, and then they sell it to you. So it's being sold as a probiotic, but really it's a probiotic-rich food. So it's shelf-stable, it does not need to be refrigerated, and it has saved my butt literally so many times when I in a foreign country and I have maybe some bad water, some bad food, and I start getting really upset stomach and something, and then I just pop like 4 to 8 of those, and it's like I'm better. So that stuff's amazing. So choose your brands wisely. I mean, you could go to Walmart and get some probiotics or some enzymes, and you got to kind of wonder if you're paying $5 for them, if they're really going to work. So stick with some good name brands.
About 11% of the probiotics, John, have harmful bacteria. I heard that from the University of Nebraska, where the DDS strain of Acidophilus was created. So you definitely want to eat a high-quality probiotic.
And of course, I mean, the best probiotics can be made yourself, actually, in your home by fermenting your own foods. I like to make my own fermented foods, different kinds of vegetables. Actually, I'll put a link down below to the fermentation master, Sander Katz, when I got to interview him a little bit earlier this year in Pennsylvania. Also, I like to have things like fermented natto and even unpasteurized tempeh.
Natto is very helpful in terms of dealing with the radiation as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was, what tip are we on now? We're on tip number 4. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
What do you got for me?
Okay, tip number 4, reducing stress.
Oh.
Stress is very hard on your immune system. It's really hard on you. And John, I bet you're a pro at this. The best way to minimize stress is be prepared before you fly. We've been giving you a lot of tips: air purifier, a straw, probiotics, packing maybe food for a long flight. So it's good to have a little travel kit already prepared if you're a frequent traveler. You want to say something yet?
Oh, I have all kinds of travel kits. I mean, I have all my different cables, actually, because that allows me to be prepared to not stress out like I'm missing something. I have my toiletry travel kit with actually silver in there, the X Clear, and my probiotic soap, and like my probiotics, and I have a whole...
And don't even use that. Don't go home and then take it out and use it at home. Just keep it packed up and ready to go, and make a note if you need to replenish the supply so that you're not trying to do this every time you travel. A frequent traveler. Also, you get to do some research before you travel so that you know the airport, where you're going to park, how you're going to get there. Leave yourself plenty of time so that you don't end up feeling rushed. And research before you go, because like I said, in San Francisco they have Sierra Nevada water on tap, they have water filters, and also in the United Terminal they have a raw food restaurant with organic fresh juices.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's always a bonus. Also in Atlanta, before you go through security, they have an organic juice bar there. So it's always nice to find that out before you go and be able to take advantage of it once you get there. John mentioned not getting seats before you go. If that works for you, that's fine. Basically, though, just being in a mindset that you've allowed yourself plenty of time and that you're just going to stay calm and not let people annoy you, not let people get under your skin. Maybe practice some mindfulness, be the mindful traveler. And also something I thought of that I forgot to say, John, before about radiation is flying at night. So,
it's better.
And that's going to lead me into my next tip.
Yeah, I normally like actually overnight flights, just because, man, when I fly in the day, it breaks up my day and I can't be as effective and get all my work done in the day. But when I fly at night, it's good and bad. Hey, I'm getting less radiation, and then usually it's hard to sleep on the plane, so I don't get enough sleep. But I prefer it. But anyways, back to the stress. I think, besides just not stressing out about your flight and all this stuff, you want to just try to live what I like to say, a peaceful life. That's actually versus stress less, or less stress in your life, right? Just be peaceful in your life. And so many people worry about things that are maybe not so important, and people blow it up, and they're just living at a high stress level. And especially here in South Florida, you like the light turns green, and it's like, if the light turns green, you're more than 2 seconds, man. They're on the horn, and they're like, that's high stress level, man. I mean, lots of different diseases could be caused just due to stress and be implicated in stress. So you want to try to reduce that in your life in general. nonetheless, especially before you fly, but in general, so that your stress level is just always going to be low. And yeah, maybe when you travel, it raises up a little bit. But if your stress level is always here, and then you fly, and then it puts you over the top, that's when you're really, really, really going to have some problems.
Get a breakout, you know.
Right.
Yeah, 10% of stress is what happens. 90% is how you react to it.
Exactly.
How you deal with it. Whether you freak out, you know, go over the top, or whether you take a deep breath and say, you know,
whatever
oy
happens,
vey.
whatever happens, I'm going to be all right because I'm still alive. Now, if you're not all right, if you're not alive, then that's definitely a problem. But if you're still here,
that's another video.
If you're still here, nothing's really that big of a problem. And I want you guys to think about, like, if something happens to you, think of it how it benefited you. You know, I've missed my flights several times because the TSA stopped me because I was carrying too many fruits and vegetables in my luggage. And, you know, I missed my flight, and you could be mad about it, be like, oh, maybe the plane's going to crash, and I'm still here, and I'll get home a little bit later, and now I have time to relax in the terminal and wait for my next flight. Or, you know, always turn things into positives, and, you know, make it a game, actually. I make it a fun game. How is this benefiting me today that the stupid rental car place, like, doesn't have my car, you know, and I'm having to wait for it? Well, hey, I get to relax. Maybe I could go online and do some work while I'm waiting, and, you know, and try to use your time wisely. I mean, so, Catherine, I'm really antsy to know this last and final tip that you have for me, and for everybody out there.
Well, you led into it with the night flight.
Oh.
I use a firm cervical collar. You can purchase this at the medical store, and it's soft foam or hard foam, firm foam, I guess, and you put it around and secure it.
Oh, that's one of the ones that if you get whiplash, you got to put this thing on you? Is that
Yeah, it's a soft one.
I see.
But it would be used for whiplash or to support your throat. So that way, when you fall asleep, your head can't fall over and crick your neck.
Oh, wow.
You also keeps your mouth closed so you don't inhale germs or drool. I sometimes use my hoodie for that all the way over. But that really, really helps when you're on the night flight. I was going to talk about jet lag next. What do you do about the time changes when you're flying east to west or vice versa, you know, and you get on the plane and then you're 3 hours ahead of yourself when you get there. So being able to sleep while you're on the plane is very helpful. And using the neck brace has just been a lifesaver for me. I also roll up my blanket if I don't need it and put it in my lumbar so that I can be comfortable. More and more airline seats in the regular cabin are not even reclining these days
especially
because
the
they're so
carriers.
close together. So what you want to do to minimize the risks associated with the jet lag is stay hydrated, of course, so that you're at your optimum. When you get to your destination, get immediately into the local time there. If you arrive early in the morning, stay up all day. Don't go to bed too early. You know, stay up until a regular bedtime and get on their time as soon as you possibly can. So jet lag is actually affecting your own body's circadian rhythms and your own body's internal clock. So the best way to deal with that is be on the time zone of the place that you're in.
Cool, and even better yet, if you're totally crazy and whacked out, right? Get on the time zone like a couple days even before you fly, right? So, you know, if I'm going from like the west coast to the east coast, they're 3 hours ahead. I could just set my clock forward 3 hours to pretend that I'm already there, even though I'm not. So my body starts to get used to it. I mean, that's just kind of a whacked out idea.
That is a great
you know,
tip.
and it might be a little bit more challenging if you have a business and you got to run it during certain hours. But this kind of gets you prepared. You know, just like anything. Like if you want to, you know, lift heavier weights, you got to keep flexing your muscles and doing it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are all great tips. Let's see.
One more.
Oh yeah, all right.
I got one more. You're 40 times more likely to get deep vein thrombosis.
What's that? Is that like if you don't have good circulation? Right?
Yeah, deep
and you
vein.
need to get up during the flight, right?
Yes, deep vein thrombosis means you get blood clots in the deep veins in your body from being immobile and because of the effects of flying. The cabin pressure is like, you know, diving. And so you need to move around. Getting up and walking around, I think you're very kind to be so conscious of the people that you're climbing over. I just get up and climb over them. I like to walk up and down the aisles a lot, of course, avoiding grabbing onto all the seats if I can. And when you're in your seat, you want to develop like a way of starting with your toes and just flexing your toes, rotating your ankles, flexing your feet, tightening your legs, your calf muscles and your thighs and relaxing. You can actually, push your knees out as far as you can, clench your knees together. I even like to do leg lifts, knee lifts, I guess you're sitting in the chair and giving your dog a ride. So it's abdominal tightening and relaxing, rotating your shoulders, rotating your wrists, rolling your neck around, because that's going to move the venous blood where those blood clots occur and also improve your lymphatic return to your heart, which is going to overall boost your body's overall health and well-being.
Excellent, and even going above and beyond that, right? Don't just do these exercises on the plane. Make sure you do them on a regular basis so that your body and your blood flow is always moving. So it's not just you're always stagnant and not moving so much. I know a lot of people get to work in their office and they don't get out and get enough exercise. And even going further, you want to have a good cardiovascular system to begin with. And what makes the number one killer in America is cardiovascular risks and heart attacks and all these things and clogged arteries and all these things, and that only happens because of, in most cases, stress, and also diet is highly implicated. So of course things like animal products in excess and processed and junk foods causes hardening of the arteries, and so eating plant foods, plaquing, thank you, eating the plant foods, high leafy green vegetables like arugula and like beets, having juices made out of those on a regular basis will keep your blood flowing really easily and
I'm
well.
I'm starting to feel hungry.
Yeah, so you're at less risk for something like the deep vein thrombosis when you are on the plane, in my opinion.
And I love using my air tamer. It improves
the
air quality.
The air tamer. What is an air tamer?
The air tamer is an air treatment device that I wear around my neck. It purifies the air, it increases the oxygen in the air, it improves the quality of the air with negative ions. And I think when you fly, it's a wonderful time to bring your little music player, your headset, do a nice meditation, do some deep breathing, some pranayama, and increase the oxygenation in your body, and also do those exercises, keep it moving. And you're so right, John. What we find, people who are ill heal 3 times faster when they exercise. Moderate exercise. I'm not talking about a 26-mile marathon overnight or anything. And we're finding now that's not always the best thing for you. But moderate exercise, walking, rebounding,
gardening,
weightlifting, weight-bearing exercises, whether that's yoga where you're doing downward dog and shoulder stands, or whether you're going to the gym and lifting weights, or if you're just staying at home and, lifting bottles of water or lifting the furniture, doing lifts on the edge of the chair. One way or the other, we need to use it or lose it. And people in the, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, they were doing hard physical labor every single day, walking everywhere they went, or riding a horse. I mean, we're sitting on our behinds all the time. They say now sitting is the new smoking.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, and I hope that you guys are watching this and you guys start exercising and start eating healthier, so when you're sitting next to me, you're not actually flopping over into my seat. Because I really don't like that so much, right? The other thing I try to do is, if you are going to pay for a seat, and the flight is empty, try to get a whole row to yourself. Then I love to lie down and sleep during the flight, and of course I bring my own pillow or make my own pillow out of my own clean backpack and clothes that I have in there. Wow, so we got so many tips in this episode. It's so great, and once again I want to really underscore that you should make your body resilient even before you get on your flight, just on an everyday, regular basis. I know many of you guys may not be into health or health food and all this kind of crazy stuff, but I'll tell you guys one thing. The easiest way that you guys could get healthier, that's really simple, is just simply juicing fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, and especially the leafy greens. If you just start juicing for breakfast, and even if you do nothing else, you will become healthier, right? Watch a movie on Netflix or on YouTube. It's called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and see the benefit and the power of just juicing. Because I know going this vegan diet or eating all crazy stuff might be kind of a little bit difficult for some people, but everybody can incorporate some juice. And if you just start incorporating juice on a regular basis and do it every day, and especially the days you fly, you will start feeling better and you will be more resilient to all these stress, radiation, all these other things on the plane.
You're going to be more mineralized. John, this is so right. I always say if you're drinking 32 ounces of juice a day, you're going to be feeling fine. And you won't be eating as much junk either.
Right.
One thing that I've learned and been doing is taking a whole stalk of celery, washing it, chopping it up, putting it in the blender with a half a cup of water, and then going pulse, 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 straining it and drinking the whole thing down, at least 16 ounces in the morning. You immediately go have a nice experience in the bathroom. You feel really energized. It's very, very hydrating, as you mentioned. And so if you don't have a juicer next, that's a great way to get started.
And I want to inform you, Catherine, so you want to get a vacuum blender if you blend a lot, because you're oxidizing a lot of the nutrients actually when you are using a high-speed blender. So now they have vacuum blenders, and we'll fill you in after actually this
We
video.
love vacuum blenders.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing I actually want to say is that you must look like a real weirdo on the plane. You get on, you're spraying all this stuff everywhere. You got your neck brace on, you got your hoodie on. I try to look like kind of fit in a lot, but I'm going to do what I got to do. I don't know. I have, I don't have the wipes and all these things and stuff. And I just try to touch minimal things.
I really rely on my own immune system, John. But once I started doing the research and I started to talk to folks who have compromised immune systems or they don't have great health like you and I do.
Then you need to definitely
and they
be more
have
serious.
said since they've read my manuscript that it's transformed how they fly and they enjoy it so much more and they feel safer and more secure.
Great. Yeah, and I want to encourage you guys also to not be so concerned about what other people think. This is your health. I get made fun of all the time for eating rabbit food, but I'm healthy because of it. I'm younger because of it. I'm more disease-proof because of it, and I'm happy because of it, and actually proud.
Well, John, I think one of the main things is, I know I used to hear, when you hit 40, it's all downhill from there. Well, I'm 60 plus now, and
Wow.
I feel better than I did when I was 20. And I know both of us have shared some health problems that we don't have anymore. Yeah. So that's a pretty good testimony, I'd say, feeling better and better. I have more energy, I exercise more. I definitely have a much better mental attitude. I was very depressed when I was younger, and I don't suffer that. I don't suffer from that anymore. So,
that's wonderful.
John, you're a wonderful educator. I love your websites. I'm so grateful for your work and for all the information and also tools that you make available. And I recommend your websites all the time.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for being on my show today to share these important tips with my viewers and me. I did learn a few things in this journey, and I will be changing a few of the things I do, and I'll probably be taking my thieves oil with me instead of having it stay at home, and I'll make a spray and whatnot.
It's really good because if you go to the tropics, which I know you love to do, and you get in your room and you smell mold.
Oh, then I get a new room actually. That's what I do. I don't accept moldy rooms.
Sometimes, you end up in a place where you can't do that. You can use your thieves. I ended up in a situation in Costa Rica where I had to treat the room for 3 days.
Yeah, and if you go to a tropical location, bring your own pillows, because that's the worst. If you get a mildewy pillow and you're sleeping on it all night long, I can't handle that. I'll get stuffy. But you know what? When I get stuffy, that's my body telling me, John, you are not in a good situation.
Right.
You need to get out of it, guy.
My health is the most important. What the Health is a phenomenal video that many of my clients have recommended to me, and I just love it. It's not gory, it's very practical and very much research, information, evidence-based, and I think you'll love it.
Cool. So, Catherine, if somebody wants to get your book, I know it's not, well, depending on when you guys watch this, it's probably not yet out, but how can somebody get a hold of you to maybe ask you questions or get your book or anything like that? Any websites?
KatharineClarkRN.com. You're going to put that in writing.
I will. I'll put it down below in the description.
Yeah, so it'll be on there, KatharineClarkRN.com. I'm still building that. You can contact me that way. I do health coaching. I also do integrative private duty nursing. So if you need to get into the medical realm, but you also want to do everything natural, I can provide private care and consultation for that. I do wellness programs for corporations. I've been doing this 40 years now, and I'm so grateful that it's finally so popular and I'm not so weird.
And hopefully one day we'll walk on airplanes and we'll see everybody spraying with the thieves oil and have these neck braces on when they're sleeping. And they'll be like, wow, they must have watched the video.
Well, there are more tips in the book than we've been able to talk about tonight.
These are just some of the bare minimums that you guys should consider and hopefully start to do so you guys can be healthier when you travel.
You can definitely take the hydration. Start getting hydrated the day before you fly. Hydrate like your life depends on it.
Because it does.
Drink tons of water and drink tons of water when you get off. Yeah, off the flight.
Yeah, that's one of the most important tips. And if you guys just do that alone, it could definitely change your life. So yeah.
Because your mucous membranes, when they're moist, they don't crack and let the bad bugs and viruses in.
Exactly. Wow, such good tips. If you guys enjoyed this episode with Katharine, hey, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If I get a lot of thumbs ups, I'll come back and try to hunt down Katharine wherever in the world she happens to be and make more videos because this woman is a wealth of knowledge. I'm so glad we got to share some time today together. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on any of my new and upcoming episodes. I have videos coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up or what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel so that you guys can increase your health. And be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 500 episodes now at this time on this YouTube channel. Teach you guys all aspects on how you guys could eat more fresh fruits and vegetables and become healthier because of it. And finally, be sure to share this with a friend or a colleague or somebody that travels a lot on the airplane so that they could also literally be healthier when they travel and not get sick, which would cause a lot of downtime. And if you're still into the whole money world, money lost or time lost from your vacation, which is not too fun. So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time. And until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.